Hey guys, I don't care what sport you watch. This is where the best information is. The media has a dangerous habit of trying to manufacture a rival for Patrick Mahomes before the cement is even dry on the prospect's foundation. We are looking at a classic case of result-based analysis regarding Drake Maye, where a single trophy is being confused with a decade of dominance. Let's dissect why this conversation is premature and technically flawed.
This is what MVP players do. They take over the game when the game's on the line.
Maye fires for Dick, makes the catch, touchdown, Patriots!
Big time throw by the MVP.
Maye throws the long ball deep down the right side, pulls it in!
Money player, money time.
They're headed to Super Bowl 60.
Did you miss me?
All right, the Pats are back in the big game. There have been 35 quarterbacks who've been selected in the first round since 2016. Of the 35, only Patrick Mahomes has been able to win the Super Bowl as a starter. We're about to have a second. Either Sam Darnold or Drake Maye will become the next to join Mahomes. If it's Maye, our Dominique Foxworth said yesterday on this program, it could propel him into a whole new stratosphere.
If Drake Maye plays incredibly well in this game and wins the Super Bowl, I think he leaves the conversation of this group of young quarterbacks that he was drafted in, and he then enters the conversation of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Whether it's fair or not, I think given what he's accomplished and if he can do it in that big game, that's the type of neighborhood Drake Maye will be in as far as our conversations go.
Is that the neighborhood that Drake Maye will be in if he plays a big game against Seattle and looks good? You do the overreactions. Is that an overreaction?
But Dominique said whether it's fair or not, and that's the point. Like, if we can look at it objectively and say, of course he's not yet a top 5 quarterback, that's one thing. But him winning this game will prompt the conversation, because that's what winning the Super Bowl does. When Jalen Hurts won it a year ago, we were talking about it. Where does he rank among NFL quarterbacks? And currently we're not talking about that. So I think, to Dominique's point, he's talking about Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. They have not done what Drake Maye will have done if he wins this game Sunday. And I think that's going to be a point in his favor in those conversations. That's how we judge quarterbacks.
But I think part of the conversation that we're missing, though, is the season that he has to have gotten them there.
Yes.
Right. This guy played an MVP type season this season. Now, we don't know if he's got it yet or not. I think they pick it this week.
Yeah.
But whenever it's picked, if he does win it.
Thursday night.
Yeah, if he wins the MVP and the Super Bowl, you obviously have to put him there, because that means he played the best of any quarterback this season. That is a massive, for a second-year quarterback, it puts him in that conversation and in the Patrick Mahomes kind of Tom Brady mystique, right? Winning early, good defense, new coach, all those conversations start because of how much success you have this early in your career.
And I think that's what's so interesting. I think Dominique is absolutely right. You're going to have those conversations, especially immediately after that game. But you brought up the name Jalen Hurts, and I think that's such an interesting one, because you go back to a few years ago where he was the runner-up for the MVP, and he performed his butt off in the Super Bowl, but they lost. But we still elevated him in that conversation. Then a year ago, they win the Super Bowl. We start having that conversation, and there's so many naysayers that's like, no, he's on a good team with players around him. So for the Drake Maye part of it, you see both sides of it. You see the comparison to the Patrick Mahomes because of what he done in the Tom Brady. But on the other side, you're like, well, it's just one season. His rookie year, we didn't see this level of play. So can he do it in year 3, 4, 5, and 6 for us to now talk about the Josh Allens and the Lamar Jacksons of the world?
I think the way to look at it is like Drake Maye, if you win this game, you now are offered entry into these conversations.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
Yeah.
How driven are you to win more, to build on this and make your career what obviously an early MVP caliber season and Super Bowl title indicate that it could be? Tom Brady stayed great for 20 years, right? Because it was important to him.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes won 2 more after he won his first one. So, that's the thing. Here you are. You're allowed into this conversation now. What are you going to do to stay there?
I mean, a year ago, at exactly this time, we were having almost exactly this conversation about Jayden Daniels, who had, in fact, as a rookie, put his team on his back and carried them to an NFC Championship game, and might have been, all kidding aside, the best player on the field in that game. It wasn't Saquon Barkley, and his teammates let him down, whatever the case is. The point of it is, like, that has become so fluid now that I guess you can't disagree. If Maye wins, I don't think he's going to be the MVP. I think Stafford is. But if he wins the MVP and wins the Super Bowl, then I guess there's no way not to have that conversation.
Right. But I think part of the Jayden Daniels issue was the injury right after that season, right? Is how banged up he's been. And honestly, that was kind of where Drake Maye was trending that direction year one, right? Taking unnecessary shots. Even the shoulder injury leading into the Super Bowl, the one thing that none of us can, catastrophic injury aside, right? Like I don't even, the ones that take you out, but the nicks and the bruises that take you out 3 and 4 games. Lamar Jackson has faced this thing. Those limit what we think of quarterbacks because the truth is availability at that position is a monumental piece of it, and he's going to have to stay healthy to keep himself in that conversation.
It's amazing that Mahomes is the only guy drafted in the. All right.
This discussion encapsulates the single greatest flaw in modern sports media discourse: the conflation of team accomplishment with individual quarterback pedigree. We are witnessing a desperate attempt to force Drake Maye into the Patrick Mahomes stratosphere based on the outcome of a single game, Super Bowl 60, rather than the sustainable metrics of his play style. The panel suggests that winning this title offers Maye entry into the conversation with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. This logic is fundamentally broken. A Super Bowl ring is a team accolade. It validates a season, not a career trajectory. Let's look at the technical nuance brought up regarding Jayden Daniels and the injury concerns. The transcript highlights a critical structural flaw in young quarterbacks like Maye and Daniels: the inability to protect themselves. The most alarming part of this clip wasn't the praise, but the admission that Maye was taking unnecessary shots and dealing with a shoulder injury leading into the biggest game of his life. Patrick Mahomes isn't in the stratosphere solely because he wins. He is there because he has mastered the art of availability. He manipulates the pocket to avoid contact, whereas the comparison here suggests Maye is relying on physical athleticism that exposes him to high-velocity impacts. You cannot enter the Mahomes neighborhood if you are playing a style of football that guarantees you won't be on the field in 3 years. The comparison to Jalen Hurts is equally telling. The panel notes how fluid the rankings are. Hurts was elevated, then doubted, then elevated again. This fluidity proves my point. If your ranking changes dramatically based on the last game you played, you are not elite. True elite status, the kind Tom Brady and Mahomes possess, is immune to the variance of a single Sunday. It is built on the bedrock of consistent processing speed, mechanical discipline, and risk management. Furthermore, the narrative relies heavily on the Tom Brady mystique, winning early with a good defense and a new coach. While historically romantic, this is a trap for analysts. Winning early often masks developmental deficiencies. If Drake Maye wins this Super Bowl, the pressure to replicate that success without the requisite technical refinement could crush his development. We saw this with many quarterbacks who peaked early and failed to adapt when defensive coordinators accumulated enough tape to exploit their tendencies. The panel asks, what are you going to do to stay there? That is the only relevant question. Until Drake Maye proves he can dissect a cover 2 shell without risking his throwing shoulder on a scramble, placing him in the same sentence as a 3-time champion is not just an overreaction. It is malpractice. The best information here isn't that Maye is the next king. It's that the media is desperate for a coronation, regardless of whether the prince has actually mastered the kingdom. Sustainability is the only metric that matters, and nothing in this hype reel confirms he has it.